Welcome back, guys. Good to see your fine nerdy selves here. With the incredible success of Deadpool, funny superheroes are becoming more and more popular. But heroes aren't the only one allowed to be funny. There are a bunch of hilarious villains out there, many of whom are funnier than the heroes. Well, except Deadpool. Nobody's funnier than Deadpool. I'll stick with mostly comic book heroes in the name of nerdiness, but I'll pepper in some other funny villains from TV and film as well. I'm Rob Mackenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd, and here's my list of the top 10 funniest villains. Number 10. The Penguin. While this character is not based on humor like some of the other DC villains, the Penguin's definitely a comical character. From his funny mannerisms to his strange looks to his incomprehensible desire to make everything he does Penguin themed, the Penguin keeps readers laughing, or at least going, huh. Or, in the case of his puns, going, ugh. Regardless, this classic Batman villain is pretty ridiculous and quite funny, even though it's often unintentional. Number 9. Sweet from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The villain in the infamous musical episode is one of my favorite villains of all time, mostly because I love musicals and basically wish every episode was a musical episode, which is why I love Gallivant and you should watch Gallivant. As long as Xander never sings again.
Warm in the night when I'm right in her tight embrace, tight embrace. I'll never let her go. The love we've known can only grow.
But Sweet is actually pretty funny, causing the town to break into song. Well, he's not so much with the actual jokes, his sense of humor comes out in the song and dance he causes. The fact that his way of wreaking havoc involves such a ridiculous thing is hilarious and made him a favorite among many Buffy fans. Number 8. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is the Joker's faithful companion and often punching bag. While she's not as cool or funny as the Joker, she definitely has her moments where she shines. And she's particularly funny when she gets out from under the Joker's boot fighting with a Suicide Squad. She gets to be herself and take on a stronger role than the groveling sidekick, and she really comes into her own. Whether she's creeping along with a huge cartoonish hammer or celebrating a victory with over-the-top antics, Harley can be a pretty funny character. Number 7. Dark Helmet. Dark Helmet is the hilarious Spaceballs version of Darth Vader, minus the cool voice, imposing presence, and competency in villainy. Even though he claims that evil will always triumph because good is dumb, evil doesn't stand much of a chance when it's represented by this idiot. Whether he's ordering a far too literal combing of the desert or playing make-believe with action figures, Dark Helmet is a ridiculous and funny villain. Number 6. The Riddler. Edward Nygma is absolutely insane, but as with other members of this list, insanity proves to make him one funny dude. While his riddles are often funny in themselves, especially in the cheesy older Batman, it's the Riddler's many quips that put him on this list. He even uses his comedy as a defense mechanism at times, escaping the allegations that he's the Riddler by being just too darn likable and funny. While nowadays, when you look back on his jokes, you're more likely to have your eyes roll out of your head, he still has his moments of real humor. Number 5. Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. Not only is Hisoka an awesome villain, but he's pretty hilarious too. Is he a despicable, twisted person who takes perverse pleasure in causing suffering? Sure. Is he one of the biggest pervs ever? Definitely. Does that mean he can't be funny? Nope. Sometimes he's making crazy exaggerated faces that are equal parts funny and deeply disturbing. Sometimes he's perving right out, which is always funny. Well, usually funny. Sometimes it's just wrong. With funny lines, a jester's outfit, and weird technique names like the gum technique, Hisoka is basically the Joker of anime. Number 4. Green Goblin. The Green Goblin was to Spider-Man what the Joker was to Batman. A longtime villain with a love of jokes. Although many Spidey villains are pretty humorless, Green Goblin definitely had a sense of humor, showing it in both his lines and his actions. When he wasn't, causing destruction and killing innocent people, he could actually be pretty funny. In one comic, Green Goblin had an awesome interaction with Spidey. He goes, "At first I was going to call myself Mr. Coffee. Can you imagine how weird the last few years would have been if I'd done that?" And there's a pause and they both look at each other and they just start cracking up. "Look out, kids, it's Mr. Coffee and his latte of doom." Oh god, stop! I kinda wish there were more interactions like this. It's hilarious to see Spider-Man actually have awesome comedic chemistry with one of his greatest enemies. Number 3. Joker. I know you all know the Joker. He's probably the first villain most of you thought of when you saw the title of this video. Joker has been the classic funny villain for years, particularly when he was first introduced. While in more recent years the Joker has taken on a significantly darker tone, he certainly maintains his clownish persona, which manifests itself in cheesy lines, outrageous situations, and crazy gadgets. His portrayal in film has been particularly varied, from Jack Nicholson's dangerous clown to Heath Ledger's dry cynicism, but he always maintains his signature sense of humor. While we may not always see the humor in some of his jokes, like in The Killing Joke, the Joker is probably the best known comedic villain in all of comic books. Number 2. Dr. Evil. I was hesitant to include Dr. Evil on this list because I knew I'd be tempted to do an impression of him, which I cannot do, so I'll try to avoid it. Now, Dr. Evil does have some funny lines, but most of his comedy is unintentional, due to his incompetence as a supervillain. Whether he's explaining how good Preparation H feels on the whole, or taking a meteor to the crotch, Dr. Evil has an amazing mix of irony and slapstick humor. Mix that with a ridiculous voice and hilarious facial expressions, and you get one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. Almost made it the whole time. Number 1. Madcap. Madcap is an insane, wisecracking villain with the ability to induce madness by looking at his victims. And he has a healing factor similar to Deadpool's, making him effectively immortal. Madcap was originally a Captain America villain meant to represent the disaffected youth of the day, making funny quips and showing disdain for the establishment. Madcap was basically a villainous Deadpool before there was a Deadpool. And then he was inside Deadpool. Whoa, 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 whoa. Phrasing? Sorry, I'll explain. After he and the crazy merc are vaporized by Thor's lightning, the two reassemble into Deadpool's body, with Madcap acting as Deadpool's inner voice. Acting as something of an anti-conscience to Deadpool, Madcap became an unknowing fan favorite. After their separation, Madcap became even more insane than before and began attacking Deadpool's allies. He's actually a really interesting villain, and it's one of the rare villains with a sense of humor that's actually good, rather than just using cheesy jokes. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned a thing or two. While you're here, make sure to like and subscribe for more nerdy videos. Make sure to let me know your favorite funny villain in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFurgey with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.